about the U.S. economy. Lynn Paramore is on the show. Lynn is a senior researcher analyst at the Institute for New Economic Thinking. In a piece for Vice, Lynn profiled a man who is building luxury bomb shelters for paranoid one-percenters. Aaron first asked her to describe what luxury prepping really looks like and what it says about the state of our society. Here's what she had to say.
Well, it's a fascinating thing. I haven't often gone underground, literally, to do a story. But in this case, you know, I've been interested in the prepper phenomenon for a while. You know, you hear about guys hoarding cans of beans in their garage and so on. But I began to hear World Economic Forum meetings in Davos that there was some whisperings in the corridors about very wealthy people buying airstrips in New Zealand and preparing for all kinds of disaster scenarios. So I got interested and started doing research, and I found a guy, Robert Vicino, who is the CEO of a company called VIVOS, and he builds these luxurious underground shelters. The one that I visited in Indiana is in a former Cold War communications facility, and it's nuclear blast proof. You go underground and it feels like you're in a very nice hotel. I mean, there's pillow top mattresses on the bunk beds, and there's you know, a luxury kitchen. There's a studio where you can watch movies on a big screen TV. You know, it's not the kind of hideout that you imagine. And this is for wealthy people who are concerned about various disaster scenarios, but a common theme among them is a fear of civil unrest, a fear of an uprising from the 99%.
Wow, that's really interesting. And this is kind of just fluff, but what does this run the one-percenters that feel this is so imperative to have? Roughly, cost-wise, what are we looking at?
Oh, you know, there's a range. You have your sort of $35,000 version on up to a facility that this company Vivos has just launched in Germany that'll run you $2 to $3 million for a place. And they have enough fuel and food supplies, so I'm told, to keep things going for about a year, maybe even more. So while all hell is breaking loose on the surface.
Only for a year, though. If it's breaking loose for 18 months, sorry.
Exactly. And it is a strange thing to me, culturally, because inequality is obviously a problem, and this is part of a realization on the part of wealthy people that it's a problem. But the idea that the solution to that is to hide away in a gold-plated bunker while everything else goes to hell, I don't believe that people can survive that way. I think we all need each other, and it's kind of it's a strain of libertarianism that puts emphasis on the individual and doesn't trust the government to do anything right in the case of a disaster. So I think that's feeding into this, and a little paranoia is feeding into it. I would be much more happy if some of these wealthy people would say, hey, maybe I don't need all these tax breaks. Maybe I want to do something to actually solve the problem of inequality rather than hide away from it.
It's a good point, and also it doesn't make you necessarily hate the guy who's developing this. He saw a void in the marketplace and he's filling it, and frankly there's something ingenious about the fact that, okay, if the apocalypse or something close to it has arrived, I would imagine the legal foot on which you could stand to sue someone post-apocalypse or I don't know, you know, the day of reckoning. It's just incredible to me. It seems illogical for otherwise logical people.
Yeah, it's true. And in a way, you know, you could argue that it's a good thing. Well, they're spending their money on something, and it's employing people who are doing the building and, you know, maintaining these facilities. Okay, maybe the wealthy have run out of things to spend their money on. They've got so much of it. So there's that issue, too. But it does strike me as there's a lot of fantasy involved. There was a couple that I read about out in California who thought, well, if everyone dies, we could be the new Adam and Eve. And I guess this time Adam and Eve would be wearing Rolex watches, you know, but that kind of hubris. No, please, no. Sounds like a really bad science fiction movie.
Thanks, but no thanks. We're good. It's incredible stuff.